you thought it was the end of Wily after we defeated him, well, hold on to your butts because he's back. And with him, he's brought some more top-class side-scrolling action and some of the best music the NES had to offer. But enough gushing, let's play some Mega Man 2. In the year of 2000X, a super robot named Mega Man was created. Dr. Light created Mega Man to stop the evil desires of Dr. Wily. However, after his defeat, Dr. Wily created 8 of his own robots to counter Mega Man. Hey, and welcome back everyone. Here we are with Mega Man 2. Probably one of my favorites for more than one reason, but generally considered one of the best in the entire series. Mega Man 2 is interesting because this is actually the first one that gives us 2 difficulties. And what's interesting about that is that the Japanese release only had 1. And when it was brought over to North America, the standard difficulty was set as the difficult mode, and the normal difficulty was the more tamed down version for us Americans. It doubled the damage of the Buster and the boss weapons when you collected them from the bosses. Now I remember playing this when I was a kid, and probably one of the most iconic stages is Airman. Especially with these big Oni faces here with the spikes coming out of them. Yeah. Great game though, great soundtrack. I absolutely love the soundtrack in this game. And these platforms, they're perilous. Especially this one here, you can't even see behind the clouds. And I was lucky I even jumped onto that, to tell you the truth. And these birds love to get in the way, don't they? Just dropping those eggs on you and all those little tiny chicks coming at you too. Sometimes it's hard to judge when they're going to come and when they're going to drop them so you can shoot them. Mega Man 2, compared to the first one, was definitely toned down a little bit. At least when you're playing the normal mode, I found that the platforming was a little easier, and you didn't slide around as much as you did in the first one. And the bosses and enemies were all around just kind of more interesting, kind of more thought out, I guess. Now this Mega Man was actually the first one to introduce some of the mainstays of the Mega Man series in future games. We can get to that after we talk about this boss. Now being the first boss in this game, all we really have is the Mega Buster, but luckily he's easy to get around. All he really does is shoot his tornadoes at you, and if you time your jumps well enough, you can get over them even with the wind pushing you back. As long as the tornadoes aren't directly in your path, your Buster will go underneath and you'll hit him. Get equipped with Air Shooter. Message from Dr. Light. Item 2. Completed. Get your weapons ready. Man, I couldn't make that text go any faster. Get equipped with Item 2. Alright, Airman down, let's move on to Crashman. Now, as we were talking, Mega Man 2 introduced some of the mainstays of this series, and one of those are the E-Tanks. and another is a password system, which you'll see after you beat every stage. It gives you the opportunity to display a password, which you can then input at the title menu screen, and it basically saves the bosses that you've defeated, the E-tanks that you've collected, and I think that's about it. And also what we'll see later on after we defeat all the Robot Masters is it's the first game that introduces the teleporter capsule room, where you do all the refights with the bosses. Now this part right here in this stage, yeah, it's another one of those gives you nightmares as a kid. Because when you fall off those platforms and you have to go all around again, and you're fighting these little capsule guys, yeah, it can be pretty frustrating. It's ridiculous. But luckily, since we defeated Airman first, we got the, I'm going to call it the Rush Jet, because it's basically what it is. And we can just zoom across to the ladder. Now, some interesting facts about this game is that, because the original Mega Man didn't sell well when it originally was released, Capcom didn't really have any plans to make a second one. But the development team, including Keiji Inafune, better known as the grandfather, I guess, of the Mega Man series, decided to work on the game anyway. And they got permission from Capcom to work on it, as long as they worked on it on the side. Like, it wasn't their main project. They still needed to work on some of the other main projects that Capcom assigned to them. So on their spare time, they worked on it and completed the game. I think was 3 or 4 months, which is kind of ridiculous thinking of the turnaround times nowadays when it comes to game development. And I guess the ironic thing about that is that Mega Man 2 just kind of blew up. It sold, I think it was either 1.5 million units or 150 million units, making it the highest selling Mega Man game to date, I think. And it solidified Mega Man as kind of a hit action platformer that inspired many, many others in the future. Oh! I enjoyed the first one, and I would agree that it had its problems. It was difficult, and they really did improve on a lot of things in the second one. And I really am glad that it turned out to be what it is nowadays. I grew up on this stuff. Now here's Crash Man. And if you time that right, you can get him with one shot from your air. And when we do the refight, I'll try to explain a little bit of what Crash Man does, but know that he shoots his little crash bomb thing, and it can be pretty devastating. C. Get equipped with Crash Bomber. Next up is Flashman, who's weak against Crash Man's weapon. And one thing about this stage is the floor is slippery like it's ice. So we get those wonky, frictionless platforming. But luckily, we also have Crash Man's weapon, so we can get through these walls with ease. I really do love the art style in this one as well. It seems like, and I think I recall reading it as well, is that they really wanted to go for a more anime-esque art style. Which makes me laugh when I think of the box art from this game. or at least the North American box art for this game, which is totally 80s and looks nothing like it has nothing to do with this game. Like, you would not associate the two at all if you didn't know. Other than, I guess, the character on the box art being blue. And it's a funny story about the box art for this one as well, is that the artist actually didn't know how Mega Man shot his weapon. So he asked if he was using a pistol, and his boss or something said that yes it was. It didn't look like a rifle, so he's like, so do you want me to add a pistol? And his boss was like, yeah, add a pistol. So he did. Alright, and with Flashman, we just try to stick it to the wall so he jumps in front of the explosion and just kind of kills himself. Now he's able to freeze. And he's able to freeze time so we can't move, and he hits us with that, with his shot. But if you're below him far enough, he can't hit you. F. Get equipped with Time Stopper. Message from Dr. Light. Item 3 completed. Get your weapons ready. Get equipped with Item 3. Now I want to say that this Mega Man was probably the first one that I ever played. Though it's not the one that I played the most. I would say 3 is the one that I played the most, and we'll see a lot of that once we finish this one. Quick Man is probably, at least in my opinion, one of the most infamous stages in this game, and you'll see why in a few seconds. There's these plasma beams here, which are one-shot hits, or one-shot kills if they hit you, and you have to be quick because they're not always easy to get around. Try and get these guys super quick. And there's something satisfying about mashing the shot button as quickly as you can. Killing those guys even before you get to them. Ugh. And that's what I mean. I wasn't fast enough and got caught by that plasma beam. But luckily we weren't too far back. Yeah, see how satisfying that is? And I can't help myself but hum along to these songs as well. I know every time I play these games, the songs are stuck in my head forever. And then I go and just listen to the soundtrack, you know, at work or whatever. Alright, we made it through. And these guys can be a pain too. But luckily, Airman's weapon takes them out quickly. With those shields. Alright, we're here at the boss. Now, Quickman's going to be jumping around a lot and shooting his boomerang, so he's not always the easiest to hit. But luckily we have Flashman's weapon. And one disappointing thing is that you can only get half of his health with it. And you're stuck with trying to get him with your Mega Buster, at least at this point. Which I think he's also weak against Metal Man's weapon. But we don't have that yet. And that's it. There's Quickman. Get equipped with Quick Boomerang. Well, that's it for now, my friends. We may have defeated the first few Robot Masters, but there's a whole lot more Mega Man 2, so stay tuned. And until next time, this is Pixel Bites. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you later.